Today's session is a continuation of the last week's session. In the last week, we talked about how is speaking slowly and steadily important. Whenever you are speaking, not only in English, in any other language, even in your native language, if you speak slowly and steadily, you are impactful, you are able to connect with the audience, and you are the owner of your thoughts, and you spend your currency with utmost diligence. You spend your currency, which is your words. While speaking, your currency is your words, and you are spending it with utmost diligence. So that is why speaking slowly and steadily is important. So for all those who have not attended the last week's session, I would suggest go and watch the recording. The link is there in the FFE group itself. Now, that day we also discussed one thing, that there is a slight difference between speaking slowly and steadily and sounding boring. Sometimes when you speak slowly and steadily, you think I am in the command of my thoughts, of my words, and whatever I'm speaking. And in that race, what happens? You end up sounding boring. So first of all, it is important that it is important to understand that what do we mean by sounding boring? Sounding boring means that the person who is listening to you is not able to connect with whatever you're talking, is not able to get involved emotionally, mentally in whatever you're speaking. That way you sound boring. And if the person is listening to you half-heartedly, he's involved in his own world, he's involved in his thoughts, then you're sounding boring. That means you're not able to capture the interest of your listener. And we want to be impactful, we want to be powerful speakers, isn't it? So why do we sound boring? First thing, before we understand anything, we need to understand that why do we sound boring? So I hope my mind map is visible. Why do we sound boring? So there are various reasons of sounding boring. The first is hesitation. The first and foremost reason, I spoke to 2-3 people over here, and all of them said, I hesitate, I fumble, I get lost, I lose track of my thoughts, I go blank. And all this together, cumulatively, it shows that you are hesitant, you're nervous. So when you are hesitant, when you are nervous while speaking, you sound boring, because nobody wants to listen to a nervous speaker. And Mark Twain says there are only 2 types of people. Either they are nervous people or they are liars. So the first thing which you need to do is hide your nervousness. You are nervous, it's okay. It's good to be nervous. But it's more important how we are able to cover our nervousness. All the great speakers, they have this knack of covering their nervousness. They follow various activities of training their brain, of training their body to fight, to hide their nervousness. We will talk about these kind of activities in the later sessions. There are various activities which you can use to hide your nervousness, to control those jitters when you are speaking in English in front of anyone. There are various activities. So the first and most important thing is that you should not hesitate while speaking. You should not be bothered about any kind of mistakes. It's okay. It's a language. You commit mistakes even in your native language. Then why are we so bothered about the mistakes in English? Why do we treat it as a crime? It's not a crime. It's okay. You are human. Humans they have a nature. They are constructed in a way that they can commit mistakes and learn from them. Committing mistake is not bad. Not learning from your mistake is bad. Learn from your mistake, and make it a point that in future you don't repeat it. So hiding your nervousness is important. So I'll give you a very simple 5 rule that the sentences by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, which I tell all my students to hide your nervousness. All my students know this, right? They are very simple 5 sentences. You can find it on Google also. Just keep on repeating it to yourself. I am the winner. Today is my day. I am the best. God is with me. And one more sentence is there, which I keep forgetting all the time. Anu ma'am, do you remember? I am the best. I am a winner. God is with me. Today is my day. And you can say just any other sentence. If I'm not able to recall right now, you can say I'm phenomenal. I am super. I am the best. I am going to rock. Instead of thinking that I am nervous, say I'm going to rock. I am super strong. I am powerful speaker. Keep on repeating these to yourself. Whenever you are speaking in front of your juniors, your colleagues, your seniors, or in a one-to-one conversation, keep on repeating. Just say these things to yourself. Moving on to next. Yes, the last one is I can do it. I can do it. I am the winner. Today is my day. I am the best. I can do it. God is with me. Just keep on repeating these 5 sentences. Next, when you take long pauses or breaks. Now, this might sound a bit controversial because in the last class, you said, ma'am, you talked about taking pauses. Speaking slowly and steadily, taking proper pauses. And now you're saying when you take pauses and breaks, you sound boring, you sound monotonous. So see, being a speaker and in an uncomfortable position, even a small pause may seem very long to you. But taking pauses is an art which you need to practice. So pauses should be small pauses, 1 to 3 seconds to sometimes very refined speakers, they may even take 5 seconds pause. The very refined speakers, they generally take a pause in maybe 1 minute, a pause of 1 second to 2 seconds in a minute. But what do? We take almost 5 pauses in a minute. That is 1 pause every 12 seconds. That is not allowed. Long pauses and too many pauses. Long pauses and breaks means too many pauses. So long pauses, not more than 2 seconds or 3 seconds. And breaks, that means frequent pauses, are not allowed. So you should not be taking long pauses. You should not be taking frequent pauses. Speak slow, but don't take unnecessary pauses. That sounds boring. Next, repetition or self-correction. Oh my God, this is one major mistake which most of us do. Why? Because we are more concerned about the accuracy. Now I have done a mistake. I must correct it. Small correction is okay, right? Instead of saying if I went, I say go. I can immediately correct it. But don't end up correcting the entire sentence. And don't repeat. This is a general mistake which I have found in most of the English speakers. Even, people who are on very prestigious posts. They have spent 15 to 20 years in their career. They repeat. They end up repeating what they are saying. And this repetition is not because you are not confident of what you're saying. This repetition is because you are not confident that your speaker has understood what you're saying. That is why you repeat yourself again and again to make it clear to him that he will understand even if you speak once and you speak impactfully and slowly. He will understand. After every sentence or after every 2-3 sentences, don't repeat. Instead of repeating, you can just ask, am I clear? Getting my point? Are you getting it? Is there anything which you want to ask? Don't repeat. Trust your audience. Trust your listener. They understand you. Trust yourself. I am a good speaker. I can make people understand my point. So trust yourself and your listeners. Now, this is a major mistake why you sound boring and why you hesitate, why you take long pauses, why you end up repeating, because your focus is entirely on grammar. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault because you have learned it that way. आपको पढ़ाया ही ऐसे गया है. आपको for you, grammar is God of English. You cannot do without correct grammar. But how many of you have learned your native language that way? Do you focus on grammar while speaking your native language? Or do you think the native English speakers even care about grammar when they speak? You can find so many grammatical mistakes in native. You must be knowing more grammar than the native speakers. If you ask them, are you speaking in indirect speech? They will ask you, what is indirect speech? Are you speaking in passive voice? What is passive voice? Do you know what is active passive in your native language? Do you know what is, conjunctions and interjections? I don't know. I don't bother about these terms when I talk in English because I don't focus on grammar. It comes naturally because I have learned English subconsciously. That is why I speak effortlessly and naturally. So you need to find out ways through which you can feed your brain with subconscious English so that grammar is no longer a constraint for you, a roadblock for you. Don't make grammar a roadblock for yourself. Jitni grammar aapko aati hai, it is more than enough. It's time you should stop learning grammar. Stop focusing on grammar. It's more than enough. And you know grammar. That is why you're able to understand what I'm speaking. You understand. You have a good understanding of grammar. That is the only reason why you are understanding whatever I'm speaking. Next, when you sound boring, wrong pronunciation or MTI. Now, this is important. Having a command of pronunciation is important. If you pronounce the words in a wrong way, the person listening to you will not be able to understand what you're trying to say. Or you have a severe MTI. MTI, you're suffering from MTI. MTI is mother tongue influence. Sometimes you must have found people speaking Bengali English. Sometimes you might have found people speaking Bihari English or Kanpuriya English, like me, what I used to do earlier. My English was Kanpuriya English, typical Kanpuriya English with typical Kanpuriya accent. So you need to come over that MTI. That is important. Pronunciations and mother tongue influence has to be improved. Next is using complex vocabulary or idioms incorrectly. How many of you want to speak like Shashi Tharoor? Can I have some raise of hands, please? How many of you? You can raise your virtual hand or in the chat box, you can just type yes. How many of you want to speak like him? No one? How many of you understand what he speaks? How many? I don't understand. Ma'am, you understand what he speaks? You can unmute yourself and speak.
Sometime, and I many times I left in between the video.
You, we cannot keep on listening to him, and we leave the video. Why? Because we find it boring. If your listener has to sit with a dictionary, what is the use of you having a conversation or having a talk or giving a speech? In that case, your listener is not understanding anything. So the essence of communication is lost. Essence of effective communication. What is effective communication? Effective communication is that whatever you are speaking, the person should understand in the same context. He should be able to understand your perspective. He should act, feel, or do the way you want him to act, feel, or the way you want him to do things. Only then your communication is effective. So if you're not able to understand what the other person is saying, how come you can act, feel, or do something? And we have a tendency of using complex vocabulary or idioms. I'm not saying it is not good. You must do that. Enhancing your vocabulary is a vital part of English speaking. You must work on your vocabulary. It is even more important than grammar. But we need to understand that whenever we are using those words, we need to first thing, they should be used in correct context. Most of the synonyms even are not synonymous. Various synonyms of different words, they are used in different contexts. Idioms, they have the word idiot in their name itself. Idioms are made out of that word idiot. And why? Because they don't mean what they say. Whatever the words are there, the exact meaning is not what the words say. For example, cut the corners. Cut the corners. Okay, I'll cut the corners of the table, of a paper, or of a cloth. What will happen? It will become short. But cut the corners means to cut on your expenses. So they don't mean what the words are there in the idiom. They don't follow the exact meaning. So sometimes we end up using them incorrectly. So it is very important that when you use idioms, when you use new vocabulary, complex vocabulary words, you use them correctly, wisely, and in a flow. That is also very important. Sometimes when you learn a new vocabulary, you sound as if you are forcefully entering those vocabulary words, pushing those vocabulary words in your speech. That should not happen. And for that, you need to practice. Need to practice a lot. So there are various ways of practicing vocabulary so that they become your muscle memory. They become your active vocabulary. When you speak, when you write, they just flow. You're not pushing them. So there are various ways in my course, Turbo English Mastery Program, and the power phrases and the vocabulary optimization program. There are various ways which I've shared in which these vocabulary words, these phrases become a part of your day-to-day language when you practice them in the way in which I have shared. Right? So it is very important to practice them. Then, this is the most important thing which we need to understand. The main reason why we sound boring. Fluency killers. And these are called the fillers. And what are they? Now, these are filler sounds, filler words, and filler phrases. What are filler sounds? Filler sounds are small sounds, right? Short delay, and signal of a longer delay. Many people have a tendency of using again and again. Filler words. So, but, and, like, eventually, basically. A lot of times we use these kind of words. A lot of times. But, many times, and, we just go on speaking using and several times. These all are filler words, which should be avoided while speaking. And then filler phrases, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, now, these are not filler words, or these are not, I'm not saying that so, but, and. These are filler words all the time. They are conjunctions and they are required when you're speaking. But overusage makes it a filler word. Even when you're saying, I mean to say, what I'm trying to say, these are good words, these are good phrases to connect your thoughts. But if you use it multiple times within that speech or within that talk, it becomes a filler word. So we need to take care of these things. We need to take care. Now, how to avoid using fillers? What can we do to avoid fillers while speaking? We are going to talk in the next session, because it will become very long if I take up this in this session itself. We'll talk in the next session. So the next thing we come on is how to sound interesting, how to win your listener, how to create an impression on your listener. So English speaking is important for many reasons. For many reasons. First, we want to create impact on our listeners. We want to earn respect. Fluent speakers, they are honored by the society. People look upon them. We need to create impression. And as Anu ma'am is the example, when you are traveling places, you need this global language to communicate. And then you need it for business also. There are many aspects of your business where you need English. Documentation, legal discussions. And then if you have some clients, you need to have a good command on this language. Just give me a moment. You need to have a command on this language. Okay? Internet usage. Internet usage is again one major aspect where you need a good command on English. And then if you want to bring a change in the society, you need this common language. If you want to share your knowledge with the world, you need this common language. For conversations, for associations, for collaborations, you need this language. And not only you need this language, you need to sound interesting, impactful, powerful. You want to become a powerful speaker, English communicator. So let us understand how to sound interesting. First and the foremost, which I keep on repeating in each and every session of mine, answer with 5 WH questions. Whenever you are speaking with people, if you use these 5 WH questions, the 6 friends of Rudyard Kipling, you will never get stuck. And these 5 friends are 5 WH questions. A simple way how you can remember is 5 wives, 1 husband. You will never forget. 5 wives, 1 husband. Okay. So you can just talk about what happened, when did it happen, why did it happen, who else was involved, where did it happen, how did it happen. So I'm putting all these 5 WH questions, what, when, why, who, where, how. You can add few more questions, right? Which, why, all these questions are related. Frame as many questions as possible in your mind, and you will never get stuck when you're speaking with people. And when you share all these aspects, you will sound interesting because you're talking more and more. You're giving more and more details to the people. So people will be inquisitive, they will be interested in listening to you. Then give examples. This is very important. Sometimes, we are just talking and talking and talking. We don't make it a point that the person listening to us is understanding my point or not. So to make yourself understood properly, give examples. Give proper examples of whatever you're talking about. Suppose you're talking to your friend, and you tell, maybe you have been to some, let us say, a movie, right? And you just say, it's a very interesting movie. You must watch that movie. Yes, it is interesting. You have watched it, but you can give a small example. Why is it interesting? Share a small scene. Don't be a spoiler, okay? Don't be a spoiler. Don't tell the climax or maybe the important part, but share a small scene or incident that why that movie is interesting. Or maybe you have been to an exhibition and you want your friends or you want your family members to visit that exhibition. So give an example. Why is that exhibition so exciting? What makes it so special? Give an example. Just instead of saying you must visit that exhibition, it's a wonderful exhibition. Give an example. Or maybe you are telling them that, okay, take some precautions when you move out in this summer. You must take some precautions. You must have a water bottle handy with you. You must cover your head with a hat or a bandana. Give an example why they should do it. Or give your example. Right? Yesterday I forgot to take my water bottle and I felt so dehydrated when I came back. Give an example. Giving examples creates a clear picture in their mind, and it satisfied that question mark in the brains of your listener. Why? People want to know. Even if they don't tell you, they want to know why you should sound interesting. That is why I told you that why should we sound interesting? Because we want to be impactful English communicators, and we want so many places we want to create an impact. So you need to understand that you must give examples. And then next is telling stories. Whenever you are sharing anything, any type of conversation in which you are, you must share a small, and telling stories doesn't mean, okay, sit down and once upon a time, okay, you just go in the flashback and you create no, it's sharing small incidents, small stories, small incidents from whatever you're talking about. Suppose you're just talking about let us take example of having a wonderful dinner last night. So you can just share a small incident from that place or from how you felt at that wonderful place. That is why you're recommending that place to your friend. You can share a small incident over there that we ordered. We ordered that special dish from their menu, and they were so delighted, and it was such a wonderful dish. And they not only brought it with such a good plattering, they also served us with so much love. And my son was so excited. He was so delighted that, Mom, we are definitely going to visit this place, and I'm definitely going to share this place with my friends. So you're sharing that small incidents from whatever conversation you are in. Small, 2-3 lines of incident. That creates the interest. People love stories. When you share stories, you're creating a bond with them, an emotional bond. And everyone wants emotional satisfaction. Each and every one. We are humans. So when you tell stories, when you give examples, you create that bond, you create that connect with your listener, and you sound interesting, and your listener will keep on coming to you. You will become a magnet. People will like to get into conversation with you because you will be sounding so interesting. The next and the last is specific is terrific. Specific is terrific. Now, what do I mean by this? For example, you are sitting with your colleague in the office and you tell him that he says, "Oh, you were late today." I got late. My neighbor was cleaning his car and he parked his car in front of my gate. And it took a lot of time because of him. That is why I was late. So instead of just saying, my neighbor, his car, what could you have said? Being specific, taking names, describing, using colors, using the, adjectives of various kind. For what can you say? Yeah, you can say, yeah, I got up at time. I was ready in time. But Mr. Agarwal, my neighbor, he was cleaning his Ferrari. He was cleaning his BMW, his bright blue BMW. And what a beauty it is. So I requested him, can you please remove this beauty from my door so that I can go for the office? I can reach office on time. And he took a lot of time fetching the keys and moving the car. He took a lot of time. He took around 15 minutes. And those 15 minutes costed me boss's temper. Right? So instead of, it will immediately bring a smile or maybe create a picture in the mind of your listener. The more specific you are, the more picturesque your speaking is. And the more connected your listener is. So give examples, use 5WH questions, tell stories. People love listening to stories, and specific is terrific. Even when you are sharing small things, right? You are giving, people say that the most free thing in this world, in this entire planet, is advice. People give you advice for free all the time. But even if you are giving advice, and if you follow these 4 things, your advice will be valuable. People will value your advice, even if it is free. Okay. Although I don't give free advice, but even if it is free, people are going to value it. Okay. So that was all from my side. How to remove speech fillers. This is what is the topic we will take up in the next session.